This documentary is packaged by Ziti Communications to commemorate Taraba State at 29, titled Taraba at 29, Gains of Nature's Gift to the Nation. Taraba State is 29 years today. Nicknamed Nature's Gift to the Nation, Taraba is a state in the northeastern part of Nigeria, named after the Taraba River, which traverses the southern part of the state with its capital as Jalingo. The state was created out of the former Gongola state on the 27th day of August 1991 by the then military government of General Ibrahim Babangida.
In fact, I'm one of the members that sought for the creation of Taraba State. That is, since the time of Gongola State, we went to Abuja and even Kaduna to sought for the creation of a new state in this area, that is Taraba State. And we were happy that the state was created successfully.
You know, with the creation of the state, women believe their place is in the kitchen. But now, if you look at our women, they have come out of the kitchen work. They are not competing with their men counterparts.
Creation of Taraba State from Gongola, precisely sometime in 1991, and it is 29 years today. We're in 2020. It was a wonderful joy to all of us.
When we were still under Gongola State, Jalingo was like a village, very remote village. The only place that used to be known very well in Jalingo is the roadblock and maybe Sabonlai and few places. And you hardly see any developmental structures or infrastructure anywhere. It used to be very, very remote. But with the creation of Taraba State 29 years ago, and Jalingo being the capital, you can see how things have changed.
It was just in a small unit, but with the development from the ministry administrator up to the political aspect, giant development has taken shape.
With a population of over 3 million people, Taraba State's inhabitants are majority of the Chamba, Fulani and Mumuye tribes. Consisting of 16 local government areas, Taraba State has several more tribes such as the Jukuns, Yandam, Kuteb, Tiv, Yukuben, Munga Doso, Ndoro, Ichen, Wurukum, Kona, Dirim, Jibo, Ndola, Yamba, Jiba, Tita, Etilo, Fumvita, Yamba, Kaka, Bukwen, Yoti, and many more. With a rich cultural heritage, the main occupation of the people of Taraba State is agriculture.
Because of our potential, 1 in land mass, 2 in bodies of water, 3 in the agile youth, the workable labor force available on ground, and above all, the willingness of the Tarabians to participate in the rice productions. And actually, Taraba is really going to take its rightful position by harnessing all the value chain in the rice productions. We may not be talking about production alone. We may be talking about the processing and the marketing so that we add values to what we produce. This is the only state that has the first rice pyramid, not granule pyramid, not cotton pyramid, but rice pyramid. Then you come to maize. Taraba is almost 80%, I believe. Apart from Kaduna State, I don't think there is any other state that produces maize more than Taraba State. When you come to yam, Taraba is almost 75%. If you remove Benue and maybe part of Nasarawa, Taraba is a yam producing state. If you come to soybeans, you come to sesame, Taraba is doing wonderfully well, at least 60%. But you come to tea, this is a temperate commodity. Taraba is rated 98% because it is the only state that produces tea on the Mambla Plateau. So Taraba has a potential in agriculture. The missing link is the value chain, adding the value chain in the agricultural produce that we produce. Instead of disposing the raw material, disposing the raw product, if we can process it here in Taraba State and make it ready-made for other states and other nations to come and buy from us, we would have achieved greatness more than before. And that I believe this is the track that we are on now. And so in general, the rating is 90% across the board in all the commodities that we have the comparative advantage in the state. 29 years, Taraba would have gone mechanized, not the traditional orthodox way of productions. But still, they were lagging behind. Some people are still using the traditional farm implement. People are still using hoe. People are still using local equipment to farm instead of mechanized farming. So our expectation by now with all this potential would have moved to mechanization. And mechanization will increase our yield and that the production line would expand so that by the time we decide to key into other value chain, let's say processing and marketing, Taraba would be super. So the only challenges is that we are still yet to get to where we want to go. Even though we are not stopping at any point, we must get to where we want to go by the grace of God. In the next few years, Taraba will be an industrious state full of agro industries that will process what we locally produce and sell to other states and even export to other nearby countries.
As one out of the 36 states in Nigeria, Taraba State has a long political history which began with a military administration led by Rear Admiral Adeyemi Ambrose Afolahan, retired.
Afolahan was the first one. Then we have Yakere. Then we have Dixon, Oni. Those are the people we had on the ground. Before Nyame, that is before Nyame, Dambaba, and now Ishaku Daros Dixon.
The political development 29 years is unfortunately supposed to be 1 + 1 = 2, but it is 1 + 1 = 1. We're still stagnated. The development is not encouraging. When Taraba was created 29 years, we had our first civilian governor. Then it was not based on religion. It was based on love and, passion. People like politics that time. to the extent that we had a Christian ticket. We had a governor Christian, we have the deputy governor Christian, and everybody is happy. Nobody is talking about marginalization. No any religions claim that it is their mathematics that gave them. Neither the Khan nor the Muslim Council were involved, because that time we don't have Khan, we don't have Muslim Council actively involved in our state politics. Unlike now that they are prognosing, where they're supposed to be in the churches, they're supposed to be in the mosques, telling God our problem. They left what they're supposed to do. They are prognosing into the political activities. And that is what I'm saying, 1 + 1. Instead of giving us 2, it is still giving us 1. In fact, as it is now, Taraba is divided along religious line, it is divided along ethnic line, it is divided along elite groups. People are grouping themselves to get power for themselves, not for the purpose of the masses. And the masses are subjected to abject poverty to the extent that their voice, they can't say anything, nobody can even hear them because of the level of the poverty, and nobody is willing to take them out of that poverty. That is still the reason why I said 1 + 1. Instead of giving us 2, it is still giving us 1. Unless and until those in the political cycle goes back to where we started and start demolishing those wrong blocks they put in building politics in Taraba State, Taraba will continue pressing that calculator. The answer will never be 2. It will be stagnated at 1.
In the area of politics, we have been calling on our women, come out. And if you are into politics as a woman, do it well. I used to advise women, don't do a politics of 1 naira, 2 naira. Where you go, you will sing, you will join, they give you 10 naira, 5 naira. No. Compete with the men. Do that which is right. And if they see that spirit of eagerness in you, doing what is right, the men will always like to work with you. We have reached a stage whereby we do things and compete 50-50 with the men, because there is nothing a man can do that a woman cannot do. Like in Taraba now, in the area of politics, no, if they want to do election for delegates or any party office, you only see 1 woman among them as the woman leader, and in all the zone, 1 woman. But now they have started giving them an assistant treasurer. Gradually we will be there as the secretary of a party. Gradually we will be there as the chairperson of a political party, which I believe the women of Taraba State will do it very well.
The governance at the state should improve. Should improve in the sense that they should dwell more on infrastructure in the state, dwell more on the human development, dwell more on education. Do you know that for the past 10 years, no student from Taraba State has received scholarship? Do you know that one? When state, educated states, more educated states like Ondo or Oyo, they give scholarship. Lagos, they give scholarship. No, we know that our revenue is not like their own. But even the 5,000 naira they are given, 5,000 is a Stone Age scholarship. Because some people receive 100,000 in Jigawa and the rest of them, with their income is just like our own. But we still receive 5,000 if they come at the past 10 years, I believe, nobody has given any student a scholarship. So such a thing, they should improve on that.
There's that increment with the leadership we had. I can only count on the political aspect of it. Like late Baba Sante, he played a role. After Juliani, he was able to erect the airport. Today we are accessible. International partners flew very safely to Taraba State to impact on some of the projects. With the political development, it has enhanced rapid change into different local government and even in the headquarters. And I believe with what we are experiencing now, I can count much of the present leadership of His Excellency Architect Darius Dixon Ishaku. He has really built on what he has came and meet after Baba Sunte. The employment he had, 3,000 teachers, is giving hope to the youths. Also, the development with this kukuba is another way out. Is a kind of thing with the tea, with kakara at Gembu, this tea, we feel that the development and the financial backup that people are having from Gembu extending to other local government is also part of it.
Women constitute 48.9% of the entire population in Taraba State, and therefore, worthy of note is the contribution of the women folk in the journey these 29 years.
The women's struggle for these 29 years, I would say it is good, progressive, because from the look of things in the state, you can now see that the head of service is a woman. Before it was not like that, and at least we have two commissioners coming from the women, one from the Ministry of Women Affairs, one social development, and we have been having women permanent secretaries. And if you look at the employment of the SA, we have a good number of women being employed, being appointed by His Excellency Architect Darius Dixon. If you look at our women, now they don't just stay at home to say their place is in the other room. They come out to struggle to make sure that they put food on the table of their families and to even educate their children. While they are educating their children, they are also busy educating themselves. They are not satisfied. Most women today, you see them, they are not satisfied with their level of education. So many of them have gone back to school so that they will be able to compete with the men in the office. Before, if you want to talk about education, you say, the woman is not qualified. What her highest qualification is diploma. No, it's not like that now. You see, we have so many book doctors as women in the state now, competing with the men. We have some of them are professors, competing with the men. Recently, you can see that from 2 women from the state were appointed as High Court judge in Taraba State. So I want to tell you that women are progressing, women are really struggling to be there, you know. And this is one good thing with Taraba women. Take them anywhere, they can compete with anybody and come out upstanding. So I will say there are a lot of progress in the state with our women for.
What really I have to put much emphasis is about women involvement in politics. Thank God I'm part and parcel of it. I have served in this state from the inception up to now. I'm one of the beneficiaries, and I believe what really made me what am I today is involving myself into politics. Women from the inception of Taraba State, the analysis I can give of had. The first experience, we only had one woman as member, House of Assembly from Karimlamido. And the second one was from Mambila, Rashida from Mambila, which from the inception of the political aspect in Taraba State, we only had 2 women, one from Karim, one from Sardana. That was the end. We hadn't any involvement in women partaking in the membership of House of Assembly in Taraba State, which we felt it's disheartening. Likewise, many women in 2019, about 7 of us, I'm part of it, we came out to contest. At least we're supposed to be supported, at least to give a kind of support to the 7 of us. Look, I'm fortunate enough, all of us, none amongst us got it, which I feel, to me, it's something to try again. You have to take risks, but we are not relenting. We are not going to give up. We will still try, but the support from the men is not encouraging. Because if I can say the truth, I have to say this, because men are supposed to support us. They know working with women, it is of greater influence at times. But silencing us is really something that is demoralizing our effort to be partaker of the politics. I remember that of the local government. The last election we had of the local government, only one of the local government was fortunate to put a woman to be the vice chairman. And 3 local government were able to produce 4 councillors elected. The rest, nothing.
Out of how many?
Out of the 16 local government, only 4 women were able to be elected as councillors, which we felt it is not encouraging. But when we come to the election exercise or responsibility, before you realize, in voting, you will see millions, thousands of women queued to support men. But when it comes to a woman, it becomes something that men will not give us the opportunity. But seriously, Taraba women are women that have decided to move with the said party, that is PDP, which all of us, we belong to PDP party in Taraba State. Some of us have keen interest not to divert our hearts from PDP, but I think it will be very courageous if men can support us so that we can move another Taraba at 29. Next, it will be 30, which will be a kind of joy. The whole situation as of now, His Excellency was able to appoint some commissioners, which only got 2 women. See, out of how many commissioners? 22 or 23. But still, we are nagging our hearts. We are in pains. At least if consideration should be done, His Excellency will at least promote us by giving 5 slots to women. We can handle some of the positions. I'm not disputing the fact men are men, but at times women put more influence than some of the men. And I believe with this Taraba at 29, if there will be a continuity of involving women, it will be more than what we are seeing today.
A multi-ethnic society, Taraba State has 2 dominant religions, Christianity and Islam.
Yeah, religiously, it has also created a positive impact. Created positive impacts. Number 1 is that we have a state branch of CAN in Taraba State. Without the creation, we wouldn't have had that. And then you can now see that with the creation of Taraba State, with the support of government of Taraba State, we have a CAN center, a very big CAN center, and where we run events, we have even a guest house, we have an ICT center, and so many much more that we have. So without the creation of Taraba State, this wouldn't have been possible. It wouldn't have been possible. And then, going down the history lane, you will discover that churches have received boost also. There were churches that never had branches, though they were present in Gongola State, but they never had branches in Jalingo. Even if they had, there were just few branches of churches in Jalingo. And even the few branches of churches that existed then have not developed to the level they are today. But with the creation of Taraba State, attention was focused here. There were influx of people, and as people trooped into the city of Jalingo because a new state has been created, and that also boosted the numerical strength of the churches, and revivals started taking place. People organizing programs, preaching of the gospel went on. Many souls were won to the kingdom of God, and so many things have happened. If you go around town now as a church leader, you will discover there are many churches, many mighty, gigantic buildings, cathedrals that have been raised. Not just the cathedrals, but if you see people gathered in those cathedrals, you believe that God is really moving in the lives of people, and revival is going on, and so many good things are happening in the states. And with the presence of government close and the security apparatus close, because it's a state of its own and the headquarters is here, the security operatives have been always around, and they have always done their best. And the clerics also have always tried to preach peace to their followers so that they will live together. But as a Christian, I don't normally subscribe to the issue of tolerance, tolerate the other person, because my Christian conviction, according to the teaching of the Bible, is stronger and higher than just mere tolerance. And that is what is maybe lacking in the minds of people, because my Bible tells me you should love your enemy. Love is stronger and higher than tolerance. You may tolerate somebody to do his own thing, but it may get to a point that you may not tolerate any longer. But if you have love, love embraces the person and its wrongs and allows you to flow together. So I think that as a state, it will continue to preach peace to our people. All this intolerance, all this crisis and violence here and there will be brought to the barest level, and people will be able to live in peace with one another. But I want to speak to whoever may be listening to me right now, that if you're in other parts of Nigeria or you're coming from outside the country and you feel that Taraba is too unsafe for you to come because of violence. Violence can happen anywhere. You know, sometimes if you are not in an environment and you hear some negative stories about that place, you feel as if right from your arrival you will be attacked, you are not safe. But people are moving freely here. We have foreigners here, like people doing the dualization, Jalingo dualization road project that the government has approved. Majority of them are not. The people, the owners of the company are not Tarabans. They are people from outside the shores of Nigeria. But they are living here safely with us. There are many other people doing some projects. The Kashimbila Dam project, the Mambila Hydropower Dam project, many other projects around like that. You can see white men among us here, especially with the opening of the Dambaba Sontei airport in Jalingo. You see people trooping in from Abuja and out, and from Lagos and other places. So Taraba is very safe, and the church has tasked herself to continue to pray. There are many groups that have committed themselves to prayer, seeking the face of God, crying on behalf of every other person so that peace will reign in Taraba State. And I believe that when God's people cry to him, peace must surely come. There may be some number of people who are trying to fuel all those crises by making noise, putting negative things on the social media, and try to scare people away. But I want to assure everybody that God is in control and God is in charge. And with God by our side, or with God standing here, and with God's presence. As our governor will always say, that God is a Nigerian, but he resides in Taraba State. So I believe that where the presence of God is, there is always peace.
You know, we created Muslim Council of Taraba State, which is part of the area that Muslims come together to work, and we are working with CAN together. So the Muslim Council and CAN, they are going together. And in fact, there is so many development in on the issue of our religions. The Christian religion and the Muslim religion. We are taking action on that. And we are working together with the leaders of CAN and the leaders of Muslim Council. We work together, everything we do together. And in fact, even on the issue of peace, we are trying our best to see that there is peace in the state. You know, now there are so many satanic issues. But when we try, through our mosques and churches, we try to see that we deliver some sermons on the issue so that we can get success, so that we can get peace in the state and the country together. So this is what is happening. And there's nothing that is done without thanking the Almighty God on the issue.
Prides itself as nature's gift to the nation. Taraba State is accommodating to visitors from all walks of life who visit legitimately for tourism or search for greener pasture.
The people of Taraba State are very, very hospitable people. They are, because if you live in a state where you are not harassed, where nobody questions your statism, you understand? So I think there's relative accommodation here. So the people are very, very accommodative, and I like their way, the lifestyle of the people of the state, except of course for the pockets of this crisis that has brought the state back, to nearly like the Liberia of Nigeria. You see, when you look at some of the states that were created about the same time with Taraba State, you will now see a lot needs to be done in Taraba State. You want to say that yes, Taraba State is a little bit backward. There are a lot of other things that needed to be put in place here, especially like streets. Most of the streets in Jalingo are not tarred. You have deplorable condition of roads, in the areas where we needed development to come up. You see, expansion of what makes a state headquarters a very unique and progressive state headquarters is for you to expand, developmental areas. You open up streets, for people to erect buildings and all that. But in Jalingo, I'm telling you honestly, there are no streets. And even where you have streets, there are no roads. There are no accessible roads on those streets. For instance, if you go to Lasandi area, this is a place that is coming up that needs encouragement from the government to provide streets, tar roads for people to go and erect standard buildings and all that. But you cannot access these places because of the deplorable condition of roads. When you go to the Sabongeri area where you need to expand for people to go and invest, there are no roads there. So I think what the present government needs to do is to build streets. You should embark on building streets. I will commend the past administration of late Governor Dambaba Suntai. He was able to provide so many of these roads that have opened up Jalingo to the status of a city. But successive governors needed to have built on that to be able to provide accessible streets and roads. But that is not done. It is not done. So in that area, we need more of that. And if you talk about other rural infrastructures, okay, they are coming up, but they are not commensurate with what we are getting. They are not at all, because if you go to other states that are created, look at Gombe. Gombe was created, Taraba was created before Gombe State. But if you go to Gombe State today, you can see accessible roads all over the places, so many social infrastructures. In the area of water, okay, the present administration has tried. We can get water from time to time. Now, I think in that area they have tried. You can say kudos to the present administration. But in the area of roads and other social infrastructures, we need to do a lot to be able to measure up with other states that were created about the same time with Taraba State. In the past, you have to have the local government administration where all the staff of local governments are going up and down working. Now, local government areas have become dead woods. If you go to some local government secretariats, you don't see anybody. So the activities in the local government has been brought to a hold, completely grounded. It is not a good development for our democracy. It is not good at all, because this is where it is just like first aid, where people are just coming out of secondary school, primary school and secondary school, where they need to rub mind first is at the local government level. But now everybody is coming to the state because local government administration has collapsed completely. There's nothing like local government. So Taraba State is a civil service state. You understand, where people depend on government. You understand? My message is not to the people of the state. My message is to the government. The government needs to do a lot, to be able to carry the people along. You understand? The people are ready to partner with the government. You understand? So, being a civil service state, we need to reach out to the commoners. We need to reach out. How do you reach out to the commoners? Provide the needed, incentives, and some of the things that is required to be provided for the commoners. You talk about school, talk about water, you talk about roads, you talk about electricity. All those things are put in place. Okay, so I am appealing to the people of the state that they should be able to be their brother's keeper. They should embrace peace, like the governor said. Give me peace, I give you development. Without peace, there is no development. The people must learn to come together, to stay together. That's the only way you can forge ahead on a very fine note to be able to bring development to the people in the urban area and then even at the grassroots level.
Before coming to Taraba State, I have heard a lot of things about the state, and I have read a lot of articles about the state since the creation of the state. Honestly speaking, I can say they are well accommodative, despite some hitches of ethnic clashes here and there, which is, I believe, is normal with others in so many other states or in some countries. These are common things that are happening. But I was in Yola I was transferred from Yola to Taraba in 2016. I can tell you that I'm more comfortable living in Taraba State now, because there are different ethnic groups and there is unity. They are very accommodative. A lot need to be done by the state government. There are a lot of these, little roads that the government should at least construct them for the masses. You understand? Not only in the state capital supposed to look much better, and more developed than any other city or local government. So in the state capital here, honestly, there are a lot of roads that need government attention. The government should, live up to its responsibility to make sure that it provides the dividend of democracy to the masses that voted them into power. If you look at Taraba, you now compare Taraba with its neighboring states like Adamawa, Gombe. Honestly speaking, 29 years you can say Taraba is underdeveloped.
However, the indices do not show favorable statistics for Taraba State these 29 years, as for instance, according to the 2019 report of the National Bureau of Statistics, Taraba State is one of the poorest states in Nigeria. Among 10 states with the lowest tax revenue generation, it suffices then to say that despite its natural endowment, Taraba State, after 29 years of its creation, has not attained its full potentials as a self-sustaining model for economic emancipation and development. 29 years of its creation, Taraba State's inability to transform and compete with other states in the country could be attributed to multiple factors such as failure of successive leadership, lack of innovation and strategic direction, corruption, lack of transparency and accountability, absence of an independent and critical middle class, abysmal poverty that makes up the bulk of citizens reliant on favors from the state and power influencers from within it. But in all, as they say, as far as there is life, then there is hope.
Happy 29 years to the governor of Taraba State and his government. Happy 29 years to all the people of Taraba State at home and in diaspora. Happy 29 years even to our unborn children that will come to join us in Taraba State. God bless Taraba State. God give us peace in Taraba State. And I wish Taraba a peaceful 29th year celebration and progress.
Taraba women, we must live united and speak with one voice for the progress of women in the state.
Taraba is 29, and my joy is that God has given us life, He has given us health, and we have reason to rejoice. The message is very simple. We should give peace a chance. Without peace, all what we have been saying can never be achieved.
But believing in God, sometime this issue will be a history. Amen. And I believe it will work through God's intervention. But collectively, Muslims and Christians, we must reason together to support the peace of this state. Just like our governor says, give me peace, I should give you development.
Okay, I wish to use this opportunity to congratulate all Tarabans for being in 29 years of the state. So we are very happy, and we are very happy. And by the grace of God, we are going to pray more and more so that we can get success, we can get development, we can get happiness in our state. May the Almighty assist us.
Amen.
Amen.
As far as I'm concerned, there's no need even to celebrate it, because the activities, the programs and development has not met up with our yearnings, our expectation. So just let's go and pray. Let's go and pray. We appeal to everybody to embrace Deus ex machina. That's what we want to do.
What does that mean, sir?
It's a Greek approach of a thing. If they cannot solve this problem physically, they employ the service of God to be there.
We wish Taraba State many more fruitful years to come.
Yeah.